Shalom, giving all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations as always to the elect. Another episode going into news and prophecy, linking the things happening worldwide to the Holy Scriptures. All right, so that the elect can know that the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai are faithful and true. All right, and also a condemnation to the wicked, Esau, Edom, the heathen nations, as well as 2/3 of our own people who aren't going to repent and take heed to the new song being sung by the holy prophets of old who have been raised up in these latter days, to ultimately speak the end of Babylon the Great, this beast system, into existence, which is a very, very heavy role in which, starting with the apostles, the elders, the men before them, who are responsible for, laying the foundation and a path for us to have to walk in these latter days, where this word will be pushed heavily via the internet and the true gospel. Okay, ultimately in a form of mercy, in a grace period, the Lord allowed the gospel, the everlasting gospel. When you read Revelation 14, that's synonymous with, fear the Lord, because judgment is coming, and if you worship his beast, his image, his mark, okay, worship the Most High God. Don't worship this devil. Don't worship his science. All right. If you take his mark, you're going to be destroyed. All of that would be talking points of the testimony that under the blood of Yahweh Shah is going to lead to our victory. So mere speech is powerful, and it's being spoken in these latter days via lowly men who've been raised up, all right, in the boldness of the Spirit. Now, we're going to start here with this situation here, which if this happens, this will be a big blow to Babylon the Great. As we know in the Holy Scriptures, Babylon the Great was going to be weakened in the latter days, and ultimately an assault is going to be waged on her via nuclear war, starting with Russia, Iran, Libya, Ethiopia, Turkey is going to be up in there. Many EU and NATO countries are and they're all gonna join forces and shoot missiles on this place. That's what's ultimately being prepared through everything you see happening in the news. This is what it's gonna lead to, as well as Israel. That's gonna be blown to smithereens. So Gog and Magog, which is ultimately the area of Russia, we know in latter-day prophecy is going to play a very, very key role in the mindset against the West. Now, what you see happening here is massive implications. Saudi Arabia is in discussion to join the BRICS. All right, now if you don't know what the BRICS is, ultimately it's a way around the dollar, but it's featuring Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. And now you see Saudi Arabia is trying to get up in there, and I believe Argentina is trying to get up in there. And the role of it is ultimately to be able to trade and operate in oil and various different, goods outside of the U.S. dollar. Which, if Saudi Arabia joins the BRICS, is going to be a big blow to the United States, and we'll show you what we mean by that. Okay, it says is an acronym for the combined economies. See, they're combining their economy to each other. So that's like me and you saying, look, we fit get together and operate outside the dollar. And we'll be able to, we're only going to trade our goods and services in this particular currency. Now where this particular occurrence here with Saudi Arabia putting in, their bid to get into the BRICS, the U.S. and Saudi Arabia have been allies since around, I believe, it started in 1933, but it became like a formulated union in, I believe, 1951. And from that point, they've made a deal that ultimately the United States protects them militarily, meaning they have their aid over there, their military, their setup, to help them with what they got going on. And then in return, Saudi Arabia would deal with America in a form of gas, or I mean oil, should I say, and ultimately with that, it makes the petrodollar stronger. Okay, because a lot of people go to Saudi Arabia, so if you have to trade in dollars, that's working in the benefit of the United States. So if they take their business into this whole BRICS economy, it's going to be a big blow to Babylon the Great. And who's going to suffer at the end of the day? All right. Now, the thing is Joe Biden going to pump more gas? He has the ability to. Is he going to pump more oil? He pretty much shut down oil production. Clearly they're draining the economy and doing what's needed to be done to get this place out of there, because that's what the elite want. But, all of these things are biblical prophecy. And the Saudis at the head of it are Edomites, in my opinion. They're Edomites. You see, they're at the forefront of it. This is just nothing but business between, when you deal with the United States and the Saudis, because the wicked Edomite pretty much went over there to the Middle East using marriages. He's crept his way to the top of particular, governments in different countries. But the Saudis, are rich in oil. And that's how Babylon, that's one of the reasons it's a power. And that's why it's hard to get around the dollar, because ultimately that petrodollar, if you want oil, you're going to have to eventually somewhere down the line trade in that petrodollar, which if they take their services to the BRICS, it's going to oil's going to go up, and things are going to get significantly worse in the United States economy. And the people are going to suffer even more than they're already suffering, because you're going to have to pay more. And then your dollar is going to take more of your dollars to get less things, less services. So things are about to go to shits. Now, to get into a little bit of this article, I'm going to just jump to the point. If this happens, it says that would essentially, now let's get this in prophecy real quick. In the book of Obadiah, verse 7, this is a prophecy in end time. It says, all the men of thy confederacy, which the United States and Saudi Arabia have been confederate since, I believe, 1951. You see, they've pretty much been allies. It's had its ups and downs every blue moon, but pretty much they've always been able to rely on that union, for the come up, so that they can flex that dollar. Now it says, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and have prevailed against thee. So the men that were at peace with thee, all the men who were once confederate unto you, are ultimately looking for ways around you. Okay, and when a lot of these European countries start to really rebel, all right, what you're gonna see is the West become the enemy. See, all of the men of thy confederacy. Now, what is a confederate? Meaning they agree. See, they agree. Confederacy is like a covenant. Okay, like you all agree and swear on the same thing. It says Ba Rayath. There you go. Ba Rayath, a covenant, alliance, pledge, treaty. And they have their treaties. They have a lot of these agreements. Okay? And the Edomite has pretty much fulfilled his blessing that was given unto him by Isaac through these different alliances. He's pretty much formulated a beast system, and it's hella hard to get around it. The dollar, like brothers be talking about the dollar weak, man, a dollar is strong as hell, but the things that are happening in the earth, you see, the things that are happening in the earth are leading to it being weakened. I mean, the dollar not super strong, but the way that the economy works is to just turn away from the dollar for a lot of these countries would be detrimental. You see, to their economies. Now it says, the men that were confederate with thee have brought thee to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. Now let's read this in the NLT. See what this says. It says, your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Your trusted friends will set traps for you, and you won't even know about it. And ultimately, if Saudi Arabia eventually joins the BRICS, all right, it says here that would essentially be the end of the petrodollar, and in even more consequential terms, the end of the United States' ability to use the weight of the international trade currency to manipulate foreign government. All right, let's go back here and read this again. Obadiah 1:7, all the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border, and the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee, and they have prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread, which his bread is his debt. Okay, that thick clay spoken of in the book of Habakkuk. Let's get that real quick. The book of Habakkuk, chapter 2. Okay, they that eat thy bread, they that have, pretty much integrated their system with that dollar, which is one of the highest levels of committing fornication with the whore, getting involved with that dollar. You see, and these different nations have, drunken of that wine, taking a democracy and various different things, and it's leading to a shit world. The world is in a horrible state. Okay. Habakkuk 2:6, shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth in that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. This word for thick clay, and all of these nations are cursing you devils out. Everybody's tired of the West. It's I ba ta yat. All right. Weight of I bat yet. All right. Weight of pledges, heavy debts. Okay. And that's, when you align yourself with that dollar, that debt accumulates. You see, and America is in debt all over the world. America's in debt with China. That's why you're starting to notice China is over here buying up land. Okay, that's happening because America owes China. America's in debt to China. So China is setting up police bases over here. And when the economy collapses, the Edomite is going to just let these particular foreign troops over here have their way, because they owe it to them, right? So all of the nations are looking for a way outside of the dollar, outside of, Babylon. See, in this time it says, shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom and the understanding out of the mount of Esau? He doesn't even understand that he's being snared in his own trap. The wound he laid is getting ready to ultimately trap him in it. So this is a move towards that. It says, It says this would be the end of United States' ability to weigh the international trade currency to manipulate foreign governments. See? And they're able to manipulate governments and control governments via particular loans and all manner. This man is the complete devil. It says the global economic system would have an alternative. The fracturing world created as an outcome, energy development will be guaranteed. Yeah, energy development. All of these countries are leading towards that because they're all getting ready to issue forth that charagma too and set up that tracking, that CO2 emission and all of that. Now, let's get to another point here. It says, the BRICS team intend to create an alternative option to all the other nations, an alternative to the current Western trade and financial platforms operated on the use of the dollar as a currency. Perhaps many nations will use both financial mechanisms depending on their need. All right, so they may not completely cut ties with the dollar, but they'll have other options, which ultimately the United States loses. You see? And the same thing that's happening with these European countries who have these sanctions against Russia, where everything is going to shits. Well, you're going to start to see that more in America. All of the moves are being made for this place to be, sucked dry and the economy to collapse. But this thing is so strong. America is so, strong on the left hand that it's going to take time, but it's happening little by little, as the scriptures talks about how Egypt was taken down little by little. It says the objective of BRICS group is to simply present an alternative trade mechanism that permits them to conduct business regardless of the opinion of the multinational corporation in the Western Alliance. See, and this is all predicated upon an evil eye towards the West. See, Babylon the Great in end time prophecy was to be hated. As a matter of fact, let's get the book of Jeremiah 51, and then we'll move on to a few other topics. The MOTB is hot, as these devils are just throwing out all manner of confusion. They're still moving with their plans. This is Jeremiah 51:7. Babylon hath been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand. See, the Lord set these devils up. The Lord rules within the kingdom of men. This is why we have nothing to be afraid about. The Lord ultimately controls these governments and these Edomites. The sword he gave them has its limit. And Babylon the Great have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that have made all the earth drunken. So the Heavenly Father used this golden cup to pour wine in the earth. And the wine, as it says in the book of Habakkuk, he transgressed by wine. His philosophy, his way, which is ultimately the vibration of Satan, which is adverse to righteousness. That's who he is. And through that wine being spread throughout the earth, you've seen the results of wicked. And on the right hand side, through the water, through the true wine, you're gonna see the philosophies of Yahweh Bashim Yahshua on the right hand side lead this earth back into paradise. This man only has so long he's gonna destroy the earth. So Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hands that have made all the earth drunken. See, all of these nations are drunk, trying to figure out how to prepare themselves for the new world and set up their own economy. Everybody's thinking on a level of for their people, or aligning themselves to a situation outside of Babylon. Babylon, all right, have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that have made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of our wine. The nations are mad. The nations are angry. The nations are fed up. See, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroy. Howl for her and take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. So This lets you know that Babylon would be in a situation where it would be wounded, and there would be no healing balm to put on her wounds to heal her. And these wounds are coming week in and week out, day in and day out, which is going to eventually lead to, the Lord is going to make a move on this place. Okay? As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure this is going to link me. And there's a precept in the book of Nahum, I believe. Maybe not. Okay, Nahum 3:19. There is no healing of thy bruise. Thy wound is grievous. All that hear the bruit of thee shall clap thy hands over thee. For whom have not thy wickedness passed continually? And this is speaking of Nineveh. And America is the modern day Nineveh, which Nineveh is ultimately, I believe that's the capital of Assyria, which that's Babylon. That's the same region. So, and that was one of the towns built by Nimrod. You see, which all points towards that was the first New World Order, where they were trying to build a one world order. And that failed. So Babylon the Great, there's no healing for thy bruise. So going back here, let's see. Going back to this article, it says the BRICS team, especially if Saudi Arabia, Iran, and Argentina are added, creating BRICS Plus, would indeed be a counterbalance to control of Western and trade and finance. This global cleaving is moving from a possibility to a likelihood. And see, this is how America was made rich, through her traffic and through her trade. This is why in Revelation 18, when the nations see Babylon the Great fall, they're going to be like welling. They're going to be crying because nobody buy their goods anymore. That's how a lot of these nations make their money. See, they're creating anything, and the Americans will buy it. This is the book of Ezekiel 28:5, 28:4. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding that has gotten thee riches, thy left hand witchcraft practices. This is the old serpent. See, the serpent in the garden now has control of the whole world via a blessing given by Isaac, our forefather, to Esau. You see, but Jacob's blessing is on the horizon. That's why all of this has happened. Okay? So with your wickedness, you've gotten the riches and have gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. By thy great wisdom, those enchantments on the left-hand side, that magic is real. That wine, and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. So thy traffic, which they trade on sea, which America has the most import of any country. So America is buying the goods of these different nations. These different nations are trading in dollars. So with this particular, if this happens, this is going to be a blow. But even if it doesn't, it's in the talks, which shows you this is where the world is going. Okay, America is getting ready to be in a bad state. Now, let's jump to some news on the MOTB, which, why these devils are throwing all of these enchantments out, which we speak on particular things because everything works. As the scriptures say, you can do nothing for the truth but for the truth. Everything happening works in our favor somehow, some way. Even Esau rolling on us, that works in our favor because the Lord will eventually move. It was written. He promised he would move. Hold up one second. The Lord promised he would move. He said he wasn't going to leave us out to dry. Habakkuk 2:3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, it shall surely come to pass. So while they're throwing all of these enchantments out, behind the scenes, they're still setting up their NWO. And they do a very good job of getting people's minds captivated and taken off of really what's happening behind closed doors. See, the bread and circuses they put billions into that for a reason. It's a big part of their operation. It's a big part of their left hand, witchcraft, the ability to make you believe, there's a stir, which they're behind the whole stir the whole time, but behind closed doors, all right? Not even behind closed doors in the heavens. It's the Heavenly Father working on the heart of the king to do these things. So it all works for our favor, you see? And while they're putting all of these enchantments and distractions out, they're buying up all of the land. As a matter of fact, let's get this in the book of Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hands. So they have the time to, while you're in a rat race, which your mind is constantly engaged. By the time you look up, your whole day has went towards, working a job that you don't have any care for. You don't have any real passion for it. All right. And then your phone, and then it's constant, particulars thrown at you, all manner of confusion. Things are just in your way. Everywhere you go is just something. Everywhere you look is just something. And that's how Esau is ultimately undermining the people, while he's doing what the hell he wants to do and bringing in his new world order. You see? So they're able to use time as a weapon, where as you're in this rat race, just constantly on the internet talking shit, just constantly but that's the importance of the Holy Spirit. We have a medium, we have a way back to, to sense, to the reasoning in the spirit, whereas these people, they don't have it. You see? And while they're working evil and throwing out all manner of enchantments and distractions, what are they doing? And they're coveting fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. As a matter of fact, before we go there, let's play this.
If I can ask you a question that often comes up in the context of this conversation, why are you buying up so much farmland in America?
Yeah, I own, through an investment office that invests in quite a few things, about 1/4,000th of the land in the U.S. So it's a very, distributed thing. There's not anyone who owns, much of that land. They've decided it's a good investment. That's very mechanized agriculture, so not that similar to, who are trying to help out in Africa. So no direct connection there, but.
And these devils go over to Africa and do all manner of evil and wickedness experimentations, but they own these lands. So if you own the land, you can build organizations, institutions on the land, and, to do whatever the hell you want. You can make it to where nobody will ever catch you. This is your land. And then on these particular lands, he's also building, planting crops, all right, which are genetically modified. Okay, the French fry that most fast food restaurants have, including McDonald's, okay, it's from a potato that was ultimately genetically engineered by Bill Gates, this guy. And that French fry has, I believe, plus 15% more of a sugar content. And this is why a lot of people have diabetes. You see? So they're able to, when you own land, you have, that's the importance of owning land. That's why in the kingdom, when we return back to Jerusalem, we're going to part the 12, the lots amongst the 12 tribes of Israel. Having your own land is very important. All right. So that we can govern. You have to have land to be sovereign. You see, paying rent to another man who owns the land is a form of slavery. The Lord never intended on us to really live like this. See, but these devils have that ability, but they're using it for evil. So he's buying all of these farmlands, you see, and they're building all of these labs, and farming will be something that they do. It will be through their means in their labs, and it'll all be tracked. As a matter of fact, that's not what I'm looking for. But goddamn, that's not what I'm looking for. There was another one. Okay. Well, this is good. Yep, this is it. Scientists sound alarm as gates of hell, and these people promote gene, okay, editing technology for everything from fake meats to designer babies. See, which they're ultimately trying to get full control of the flesh via, cracking the code, okay? And it's all about this right here, that D to the is a, that D to the N is to the is a. You see? D to the N to the is a, you know, and if he's able to change that code, because that's everyone's code. Your story is literally written in your members, and he wants to, he figured he has a way to alter that. And that's what these devils are doing, which is an agenda against the Most High. And Christians are silent.
The money that I haven't spent through the foundation, all of it will go to the foundation. But in the meantime, we invest it, try to get returns so we can have as much to send to poor countries as possible.
How do you read the pandemic at this point in time?
Well, there's vaccine. There's no
shortage of
there's
vaccines.
no country that doesn't have access to infinite vaccine. There's a get the message out and try to get to 90-95% vaccination of those at greatest risk. Countries are behaving, most countries, as though the pandemic is over. That is, they're not locking down, they're not wearing masks, and yet the deaths continue. We have some risk of a new variant. We hope that doesn't happen. And then we also have, over the next few decades, a chance of another pandemic. And, I'm hoping that the world takes the lesson and that we're better prepared to act quickly.
So this is the future they have for you. As you can see, that is complete madness. If you trust these people, then hey, that's on you. Now, let's go back here. This is the beloved elder brother Karatazar GMS Vegas. Sit downs 144K, digital transformation, MOTB incoming. And when we say MOTB, that's what's written in the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter. Revelation, the 13th chapter, and the 16th verse at the very end of Esau's rulership, okay, which is called the beast system. He would issue forth, as you can see here, Revelation 13:6, and he, the beast, causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And ultimately, if you take that, his name is on you. You see? And through that, he now operates you. You're now his possession. You're no longer the Most High's. He has cracked the code. He has ultimately, through that, he can now change the outcome of the story and have control over spirits. And that's really what he wants. He's trying to be the Most High. Have control over when, people are born, when people die, being able to punish people when they rebel against him, make people self-destruct. That's power that the Most High has. And, through the left hand, he's been able to do that. See, and he's presenting, he's bringing this forth. Um, he's bringing this agenda forth. Okay, and it's getting more bold. You see, biohacking humans, people implanting chips in hand and head. All right, we just read that in prophecy, so you can't say that what we just read in Revelation, the 13th chapter, has nothing to do with this agenda. If you do say that, either you're a sellout or the Lord ain't dealing with you. A lot of you have taken deals. See, it's a technological advancement that seemed incomprehensible a generation ago and now appears inevitable. From a microchip implanted, all right, subdermally to a robot learning to imagine itself and its own purpose in a tiny microprocessor implanted directly on the brain. Our lives are going to be intertwined with robots and artificial intelligence increasingly. This is on Fox News, in complex ways that we can't even imagine today. Columbia University engineer and data science professor Hop Lipson. Now, see, these universities, or where they do a lot of these experiments. Now, who owns the land where these universities are? So if you own the land, you're able to set up a university and traffic and do all manner of evil you want because you own the land. If you don't want the police to roll up in there and check out what you're doing there, they won't come. You control the police. Police ain't fighting real crime. The true crime is being done in some of these universities. He says he describes it as the inevitable fusing of the physical and digital worlds. In his robotics lab in Manhattan campus, groundbreaking projects are underway. So, I mean, here we go now. Going back here, the vision is for an appointed time. We're in the times where these things are getting ready to be fulfilled, man. 2 Corinthians 2:11, lest Satan should get advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices.
Bankwest is a subsidiary of the Commonwealth Bank and has just closed all of its branches down the east coast of Australia, including slashing the opening hours of its regional branches in its home state of Western Australia. There is a high likelihood that the commercial banks will not exist in the future. They will have an administrative role only because the central bank digital currency will be handled by the Reserve Bank of Australia.
Not even 3 months ago, we presented our vision for Europe's digital transformation by 2030. It is about where we want to go and who we want to be. Europe is a front runner here and can set standards at the global level.
Now, when you look up the beast, the mark of the beast is ultimately Babylon the Great rides the beast. The whore rides the beast. The beast is pretty much Europe and the different countries that are, the EU and the different countries that are aligned. So it could very well be pushed in those places, before it's really pushed here, but they're all going to bring it at the same time, I believe. Okay? But this is where the world is headed. Listen to what she's saying.
We want to offer to Europeans a new digital identity. An identity that ensures trust and protects users online.
Okay, it's an identity. It's a new identity. What identifies you? And this is the fourth industrial revolution, as your boy Claus, crazy ass killer Claus. All right, Klaus Schwab, which he's all in this.
we are about to present our proposal, it will allow everyone to control their identity online and to interact with governments and businesses across the European Union. Nobody should be forced to give more data away than is necessary for the purpose of mind. Ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to mention these examples because they showcase our digital ambition. This is about who we want to be as Europeans. And to capture this better, we will formulate a set of digital principles.
Now, what you see going on in Europe is the collapsing of economies, right? With the sanctions put against Russia, which is all the leaders of these countries, you know, they're all in on the jig, but the story is still playing out. So these economies are being crashed. You know, people are becoming desperate. You know, they're having climate lockdowns, meaning, you know, the lights have to go out at a particular time for the preservation of, you know, fuel and, you know, people ain't, you know, able to live the lives they want. You know, the people are having to choose between heating their homes or eating a meal. These are the times that are coming in Europe. And now look synonymously what they're talking about. Well, the same thing is going to happen here, but here is going to hit Sutton. Okay. And you can't say you weren't warned.
Such as access for all to the internet. We then want to enshrine these principles in a solemn declaration by the European Parliament, the Council, and the Commission. Europe's digital principles shall guide our actions and initiatives. I already mentioned digital identity. Another example is artificial intelligence. Just a few weeks ago, we proposed our new legal framework on AI. It is the first such framework worldwide. It puts the individual at the center, and it will ensure that people's safety and
Esau is creepy. Look, what is this? These devils are absolutely like ugh.
fundamental rights are protected. AI is yet another example of our ambition.
So they're gonna make your life better via, you know, more surveillance, you know, more technology, you being linked more with their beast system, their machine, you know, letting it, you know, guide and govern you, letting this new God become your comforter, your protection, your, you know, and they're doing it very, very swift. They're not wasting any time because they know that they have but a short time. You see, Esau ain't playing no games. They're getting ready to come down with great wrath on the people as a means to say, I'm helping you. This is safety. Let's get that in the scriptures, peace and safety. 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter. See, this is 1 Thessalonians 5:1. But of the times and seasons, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. I mean, you've seen all of the videos. We've brought this information out time after time. It says this, NLT, now concerning how and when all this will happen, dear brothers and sisters, we don't really need to write to you. All right? Because why? You're going to be in the spirit. You're going to be tied to the scripture say a wise man's mind understanding both time and judgment. And you're going to be listening to the prophets. But here in this letter, he's given exhortation. He says, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. You already know the deal. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction coming upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Who's the they? The wicked. See, when they say peace and safety, All right, let's get that. Feel his belly. When he's about to feel his belly, he's going to be stopped. You think the Lord is going to allow him to do this? That's what you should. That's what I think about every day. Is the Lord really going? Is what the Lord? No, Lord ain't going to allow this nigga to do this. I say that every day. No, he ain't going to allow this. The Lord going to get us out of here. Job 20:23. In 22, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits, and he's in straits. The Israelites is waking up. Things are slipping out of his control. He's having to hurry up and do what the Heavenly Father put in him to do, so he can lose. All right. And every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. This word wicked means the wretched, the worker. The working class is rebelling against him. Okay. People are pissed off. This word don't mean like a wicked person. Well, this is how people look down on the working class, but they're the people who ultimately drive the world, drive economies, and they're treated like complete shit. In the kingdom, there's an order to having a servant. Our laws don't, now they're never going to be on our level, but there's an order to having a slave. See, this devil just completely wore out his slaves. He didn't have no pity. I maul, labor, wretched one, laborman, workmen suffer. All right, the ones who toil for these systems to work, these economies to work. They're every hand of the wicked is gonna come up on him. People are gonna be rebelling against the governments. It's gonna slip out of control. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating, while he's trying to establish this new world order. Let's look up this word eating. Interesting, because he has the fatness of the earth. Lacha wam. Intestines, bowels, and your bowel, your belly, your intent. See, and your lust. Okay, so while you're trying to bring in your NWO, your lust, the Lord is going to uproot this wicked plan. But you're going to try it. You're going to set it up.
We embrace new technologies, but we stand by our values, by setting new standards for our single market and by inviting others around the globe to follow. We must ensure that the digital transformation of our democracies has a purpose and that no one is left behind. And I know that also the European Parliament is very engaged in promoting our values and principles in the digital space. So I am very pleased to see that our objectives are very much aligned. And even beyond. As we seek to set standards at the global level, we sense a lot of interest among our international partners.
Mobile payments coming soon.
So, what John the Revelator saw, okay, is being brought to pass. And this is a good video here. Let's see here.
Government agencies, the third way we think CBDC can improve financial inclusion is through what we call programmability. That is, CBDC can allow government agencies and private sector players to program, to create smart contract, to allow targeted policy functions. For example, welfare payment. For example, consumption coupon. For example, food stamp. By programming CBDC, those money can be precisely targeted for what kind of people can own and what kind of use this money can be utilized, for example, for food. So this potential programmability can help government agencies to precisely target their support to those people who need support. So that way can also improve financial inclusion. Of course, I want to end with a caveat because CBDC is not a panacea. CBDC cannot solve every challenge in financial inclusion. There are some aspects of financial inclusion is not related to technology. For example, financial literacy, digital literacy. So CBDC has to work with other policies together.
So there you have it. You heard it. Okay, this is where the world is going. And if you want to have a functioning economy, you know, you're going to have to align yourself with that system. If you want to buy and sell, you know, that's ultimately what you're going to have to dive into.
A little bit far-fetched, and you might be thinking that this kind of authoritarian control over your money is not going to be anything that we'll see in the future. Unfortunately, this is already implemented in the world. In China, the government is already able to program what its citizens can and cannot spend their money on. Over the last few years, they've limited millions of people's ability to buy things like train tickets, passports, and luxury goods. They're able to do this because of China's intense social credit system that links each person's identity and actions to their bank account, allowing the government to see,
as she said, a new digital identity,
and to control everything a citizen does with their money. And it seems like the West is paying attention. In nations like Sweden, South Africa, and Canada, trials of programmable central bank currencies are already underway. In fact, almost half of the world's nations are at some stage of implementing this kind of programmable money, meaning no matter where in the world you live, this technology is likely only a few years away. Okay, so how does programmable money tie in with the personal carbon limit? Well, it all comes down to whether or not you've gone over your monthly usage, and if you have, there are two possible case scenarios for that. The most openly talked about penalty for a person going over their individual carbon limit is that they'd simply get charged for doing so, just the same as what happens to large companies today. Taken too many car trips this month, or bought a little bit too much meat. In that case, you'd simply get a bill at the end of each month from your government so you can pay the price of being a naughty citizen. As your entire carbon usage would be tracked by a government CBDC, there would be no way to hide how much carbon you've used. And since they now also hold the keys to your money, they won't even need to send you a bill for your excess usage, potentially. They'll just automatically pull your fine from your bank account.
So it's a enslavement on a whole nother level, and they're presenting it, you know, along with you know, helping people, you know, as it says here, you know, those lying wonders. Wireless brain implant could save more than 100,000 Americans who die each year from aggressive tumors. And why do people have tumors? Why does everybody have cancer? Could it be the soil? Could it be what's being put in the foods? So instead of fixing the earth, we're going to fix you via our technology. This is the new God. This is a new idol. This is an idol on a whole nother level. So any Israelite with a platform should be telling you not to take this. You should be speaking against it anyway, because it boasts itself against the Most High. But, you know, for some camps, you know, I guess what they got going on is more important. Wireless brain implant could save more than 100,000 Americans who die each year from aggressive tumors by zapping them with heat for 2 weeks. So you're going to have a chip in your mind zapping a tumor for 2 weeks. The wireless brain implant would let patients treat themselves at home. A transmitter sends electrical signals through the brain chip, which then converts them into infrared light that activates nanoparticles around the tumor. Oh boy. The nanoparticles generate heat to kill off the brain tumor. Mice with tumors were treated for just 15 minutes a day for 15 days. And they always throw in the mice. So they're in these universities and different labs with just a whole bunch of, where are all these mice? What are you doing? Fuck, it worked on the mice. It'll work on a nigga. Surely it'll work on a nigga if it worked on a mouse. And all of you people are niggas. So they're going to bring it in as peace and safety. You see? But destruction is coming up on them because you just heard that video. That's really the agenda behind it. You see? And if you can have a society that is subject to a government where they're, tracked and traced and, you win internally. They can't go nowhere. Okay? Lab-grown brain cells play ping pong game after learning with real-time performance feedback. The lab-grown brain has learned to play the 1970s video game Pong. This is what they have time to do. This heathen needs to be grabbed by those blue gloves and tossed into a prison and locked away. All of these devils need to be locked up. All of these heathen need to be locked away. They need to be stopped. This is too much. This is too much. This is another good video you can check out. And check this out. This is on the Elder Brother Require Quan page. Listen to a little bit of it. MOTB CBDC Central Bank Digital Currency Slave System. Insert charagma here. When we say charagma, the reason we say charagma, if you're just tuning in, is because when you get that vision John the Revelator saw in Revelation the 13th chapter, where he saw this beast system, which we have breakdowns on Revelation the 13th chapter. I think the one me and the elder brother Itazamwam did, it's they gave it a strike, so it's on my Odyssey. I'll see if I can find that link. But this beast system would in the latter days issue forth this mark. Now the word for mark in the Greek, all right, is charagma, which is ultimately a thing carved, okay, an imprinted mark. It's an idol. It's an idol. It's the modern day idol that you're gonna bow to, see, and the root word is karax, so we may say karax sometimes, pale, which is something you stick in you. As you can see here, sharpened to a point. So John the Revelator saw them issuing forth this particular device, putting it in people's brains, putting it in people's hands, putting it in people's body, period. But those are the main two places. And linking that to how you buy and sell would get people through their lust. Using food as a weapon, buying up all of the land, making sure people only have so much access to this. Eventually, the people are going to fold and go to you because you have everything and they have nothing as this economy collapses.
Introducing fundamental changes in how money works. The changes are being planned by central banks around the world, including the UK's central bank, the Bank of England. These changes, once introduced, will affect everyone.
So what are these changes really about? The changes being proposed will mean that you will no longer have full control over your spending. In fact, what they are planning is the replacement of money with something which is fundamentally different. Therefore, it's not just cash they want to remove from the economy, it is money itself. Pay attention, because if the new monetary system is allowed to happen, it will be very difficult to reverse, and could mark the beginning of the end of human freedom. In order to explain the changes that are being planned right...
And that's what they want, the end of abundance, the end of humans, having their own freedom to walk around the earth. And no, you'll be tracked, traced. And ultimately, this is the biggest prison. This will be the biggest, most efficient prison ever if they're able to complete it. Which they defeat the Most High in this sense. If they're able to just get this done, then they won.
Now for your tomorrow, let's explain a little bit about how your money works today. Let's imagine that John decides to buy his daughter a birthday present from Argos. He chooses the product he wants, then pays £50 using his debit card. You might think that £50 is immediately transferred from John's bank account to Argos's bank account. But this is not what happens. A record is created showing that John's bank owes Argos's bank £50, and John's account will even show that the money has left his account, but the actual transfer of funds does not occur at the time of purchase. John's £50 purchase is one of about 50 million UK transactions that occur every day, and although in each case the account may show that the money has been transferred, the actual movement of funds between the banks only occurs once every day. Every 24 hours, all the payments made to and from each of the UK's 300 plus registered banks are added up to determine how much each bank owes the others.
So this video is going into, how these systems work and how ultimately it's all going to be tied with a digital, and it's going to have a, the blockchain which tracks everything, and they'll be able to, and you can watch this, we don't have to watch this whole thing, but you can watch that pretty much on your own. Let's get a few other articles. So, we keep updating on it. I had a few other videos. Let's see here.
Really?
They're a little confused about it.
They're gonna put chips on you guys? And that's your guys'
On our body.
Really?
Yeah, it's this new place they use. They want to start with that on the site.
They're practicing, they're trying this new thing on you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of low, but basically what he's saying is his job is, that's what, they're getting ready to have to put chips in them. So this is happening worldwide. But again, they're going to present it as, and that's the miracles, how they're going to act like it heals. That's those miracles, those lying wonders. This is Revelation 13:14, and he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had a wound by the sword and did live. And this is ultimately ancient Rome rebirth into the earth. Now they're gonna, conquer via technology. See, and he's gonna, deceive many by the miracles which he has power to do. The Heavenly Fathers gave him this power, and he's getting ready to make the earth, come up under his order. It's like a Hellenization, with the guy. He came out of Seleucid Empire. His name is Antiochus. What he did at the time of Maccabees, that's coming back. This is where they're moving it towards. Okay, and it's blatant. Okay, There you go. It says, this is an article here. Okay, this is off of Tyranny News. It's a good website, but okay, global economic collapse will usher in, all right, the one world order. See, this is what's on the horizon. This is why all of these things are happening. See, price control causes shortages and destroys economies. Let's see this. So look up these articles. You know, I can't go into each and every article. You know, sometimes we just read the titles, but it's good to get into the articles too. But you got to learn for yourself too. You can type in the title of these articles and look it up and should post particular, you know, what you find. You can put it on the comment board, but they'll erase it anyway if it got a particular word. Globalists colluding with big tech to manipulate the internet under the guise of fighting disinfo. So they're in straits. The fact that they have to fight disinfo, and ultimately they're in a trick bag. Okay, they're in a trick bag. You know, ultimately the Heavenly Father has allowed you devils to get to this point. You know, and you did good for yourself. You know, you ultimately was able to you know, use your left hand means to get a whole hell of a lot. You know, but as it says here in Psalm 7:14, it says, "Behold, he travaileth with iniquity and have conceived mischief and brought forth falsehood." That's you Edomites. And all of you heathen got to be stopped. You got rats and mice in captivity. You're over in the Holy Land humping a wall with a small hat on. Okay, you're completely finished, man. You have ran your course in the earth. He made a pit and digged it and is falling into the ditch which he made. That's where you devils are going, into the ditch, man. So go ahead and try to bring forth your NWO, your digital enslavement. You know, eventually it's going to implode on itself. It's not made. It's too wicked. Wickedness was never made to last forever. His mischief shall return upon his own head, and his violent dealings shall come down on his own pate. So this is where you are. You are in a trick bag to where everything is about to implode on you. Okay, and but before that, you're going to issue forth that charagma. Okay, and you're setting up situations where people can't talk about you. Okay, Oakland cops hope to arm robots with lethal handguns. And see, there's an answer for a nigga. Okay, and see, these robots are going to be programmed to chase Tyrone. Okay, to Keisha. It's going to be a racist robot with a gun. This is what's coming down the pipe. And you're going to know in that day, I should have listened to the prophets, man. But yo big old ass still warming up honey buns for 5 seconds, taking it out of the drinking 40s, talking shit, still talking about Tupac and Biggie. Who's better, Jay-Z, Nas? Talking about, I don't understand why he would be anti-Semitism. Yo, dumbass, you don't know what that mean. So the only answer for a nigga like that, and when I first came into the truth, I love Jake. Well, Jake, there's an answer for Jake, and the Lord has fulfilled it in the sword, his sword, which is the left hand, the wicked. He's going to allow them to let loose, but he's going to preserve his elect, okay, via the famine and the chaos, okay. Killer robots. All right. Virginia Democrat wants state to kidnap children who belong to transphobic parents. Oh, Lord. Wow. This is insane. But this is the world we live in. Okay, so going down the pipe, once they set up this social credit system, they're then gonna know who's saying what and who's with them. They're gonna have a better gauge. And then those who ain't on the grid, okay, they're gonna come. This is where we're gonna need Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Okay, so that's that. Look like we got everything we need. Let's see. Yeah, these devils are through, man. So just a little news and prophecy, update on the charagma, a few things. Hopefully y'all edified. On to the next. Shalom.